Welcome back. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here. The all new radioandfire.com. Diamond K in the morning. And it seems like I am constantly coming to you with bad news. The loss of another rapper from the 90s. We are finding out that legendary rapper from the legendary group, and I don't throw that word around, like it ain't nothing. So when I'm saying legendary, talking about the frontman from the group Digital Underground, Shock G, also known as Humpty Hump. Now, for you young folks who may not know about Shock G, Humpty Hump, Digital Underground, this was a group that was popular late 80s, early 90s, and Shock G was Humpty Hump, and they had a whole little thing where some people thought they were different people, but it's the same person. Shock G, Humpty Hump, one of the co-founders of Digital Underground, and this is a West Coast group, and people of a certain age will know who I'm talking about. So if you're not familiar, you don't know who I'm talking about, just sit back and we are going to go to school, have a conversation about it. This is going back to a time when hip hop was fun. Now, let's keep in mind that you had NWA, you had South Central Cartel, you had Compton's Most Wanted, and I'm throwing some West Coast groups out there because my knowledge is deep on West Coast hip hop. Yeah, my knowledge is deep on West Coast hip hop. But as I said, Shock G passing away, Humpty Hump. And I have so many fond memories of this group. We can't forget that Digital Underground bringing Tupac to the forefront. So, just looking back, now Shock G was a producer and a rapper, produced a lot of records. We're going to talk about him. Yeah, we're going to talk about him tonight. And, I just, when you really think about it, in the span of a few weeks, hip hop losing DMX, Black Rob, and Shock G. This is, man, I just can't believe that we've lost another hip hop icon. And all of these losses really hurt hip hop. And this one hurts as well. Just tuning in, Diamond K in the morning on the all new radioandfire.com. We are talking about Shock G, aka Humpty Hump, from the legendary group Digital Underground. Here on the program, we talk about the biggest political and trending news stories of the day with interviews and original reporting from across the country, emanating from our studios in Baltimore and Atlanta. Show's fun, show is upbeat, but I want to expose what's really happening in the country. And today, talking about the loss of hip-hop legend from Digital Underground, the freaks of the industry, Shock G, Humpty Hump, keeping the P-Funk alive. They were really influenced by Parliament Funkadelic, among other. They had a lot of influences. But Shock G was one of the producers on Tupac's first album, Apocalypse Now. The Humpty Dance was a breakthrough song. It was actually a dance. This is back at a time when people were really dancing. We're talking about before social media, before the internet, really was a thing, this group was out there. Shock G produced I Get Around for Tupac. A lot of other songs too. Let's keep in mind that Tupac was a roadie for Digital Underground. All right, stop what you're doing, because I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you're used to. Man, that was a hell of a line. So definitely want to take a moment for prayers and condolences for the family of Shock G. Life is short, people. Life is short. Life is really short. A entertainer, good entertainer. You know, you talk about giving people their roses, their flowers. We have got to really let those entertainers and people, just people in general that mean so much to you, let them know how you feel about them. We are losing way too many legends. 57 years old is too young. The rap legend was found dead tonight, Thursday, April the 22nd, 2021, in a hotel room in Tampa, according to family members. So he was a writer, performer, producer, and a major influence in not only West Coast hip hop, but hip hop in general, that golden era of hip hop. So you had Tupac as a roadie for Digital Underground, meaning that he was just doing things just to be around the group while they were on tour. He eventually had performances with the group and, clown around, hang around with the underground. You know that song. It was on the soundtrack, Nothing But Trouble, right? Yeah, but same song from that. That was Tupac's first feature, major feature. Shock G did background vocals on Tupac's single Trapped. This is early. Tupac's debut album Going Gold. And Digital Underground, like I said, being such a big influence on, I gotta say, hip hop, because they were so instrumental in the early Tupac recordings. And you heard Shock G on the I Get Around song. Saw the video. You ever see the video? The video for I Get Around, I mean, it was going back to a time, like I said, when people were having fun. So this was a slept-on group. As big as the hits were that Digital Underground had, they continued on after that. Anybody that knows me knows that Shock G, Humpty Hump, was one of my absolute favorites as a kid. One of my favorites. And I just want people to know that everything about hip hop does not have to be shoot 'em up, bang bang. It doesn't have to be like that. So it does not have to be like that. And this group was one of those legendary group. And as I said, I don't throw that word around. I don't throw that word around like it's just easy to obtain legendary status. I don't throw it around like that. But I don't know where hip hop would be without the influence of groups like this. Because like I said, Digital Underground, Shock G, Humpty Hump were so played such a major role in Tupac and Tupac's early career. And then Tupac went on to become what he became, and then he influenced the whole generation, which influenced the whole generation. So do you understand what I'm saying? Do you see the connection? You got to see you got to see the connection. And young people now, this generation, it is so important for you to have respect for the generation that came before you. Let me tell you why. Right now, you see an older generation that is constantly talking about legends that they've lost, right? We're losing a lot of legends. And eventually, you guys and your entertainers that you're growing up with, they're going to move into that slot. And there's going to be another generation behind you, and you're going to be trying to uphold the entertainers that you grew up listening to. And so on and so on and so on. So I really want that respect level to be there from any generation, because it's all hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It's all hip hop. And we are going to have some roundtables, and we were supposed to record one today, and I'm going to have to get with the guys. We're going to have to set up another time for that. But I really want to start talking about some of these legendary groups that were influential to the sound of hip hop, yet don't get talked about enough because maybe they're not on the charts right now. And some of you may not be aware. Just tuning in, Don McKay in the morning, allnewradioonfire.com. And we are talking about the loss of a legend, hip hop legend, producer, writer, performer, Shock G, ahead of his time, groundbreaking. Okay, so I want to make sure y'all understand. This guy walked around with the fur hat, the nose, the glasses, and just had fun at a time right before gangster rap really started to blow. Right before gangster rap started to blow. Nate, don't say it if you don't mean it, because if you want to talk some classic hip hop, we got to have you on that round table discussion. Don't be playing. My man Nate Fields talking about he's down and he's got knowledge. Okay, so I'm gonna have to reach out to you, bro, and have you on this round table. Yeah, so it is really sad that I'm here again talking about the loss of a third legend in just about that many weeks. If you don't know what the contributions were to from Shock G were to the game, I have no problem breaking some of that down. Some of that down. So 57 years old, and this is the latest in the string of deaths among some of the 90s biggest stars. Once again, we are saddened by the loss of a legend. So Digital Underground, Bay Area specifically, that Bay Area was and is just a breeding ground for great things. So that first album, I don't know if y'all remember that first album called Sex Packets from Digital Underground. So they had a lot of things going on. And as I said, they were influenced by Parliament, Funkadelic. So people had costumes on. They were really performing. This is a very high concept type of group. Sex Packets. I think they probably take Sex Packets now. Was Sex Packets ecstasy? I don't know what Sex Packets actually was. They talked about it. And the first album, the concept was built around Sex Packets. So he did like a Groucho Marx, for people that know who Groucho Marx is. It was raunchy. They were funny. They were weird. Burger King bathrooms were never the same after Digital Underground talked about it in some of their songs. But it's really sad when I think about it. Because I said I used to walk around. I used to walk around in school with the glasses with the nose, with the nose attached to it. So some of the production credit, we talk about some of the production credits. Some of the production credits for Shock G. Because some people think that Shock G was just Humpty Hump and his crew, and that was it. Real name is Gregory Jacobs. Real name Gregory Jacobs, and I want to talk about some of his production credits because I mean, some people might be sleeping on him. Some people might be sleeping on him. So you have a very extensive list of work that he did. Some people want me to talk about his Fear of a Mixed Planet album from 2004. But the singles, so the group Digital Underground, the first single that they had was back in '87. This is early, right? This is early. Underwater Rhymes from 1988 was a song that really got them a big buzz. Local buzz. Let me say a local buzz in the Bay Area. Do What You Like, which came out in '89. That's really what got them that national exposure. So they had a video, which was crazy, and Do What You Like really set things off for them. The album, of course, Sex Packets. But the Humpty Dance is what took them pop. That's the biggest record that the group had, the Humpty Dance. And let me say this, everybody at this time was doing the Humpty Dance. That's not, it's one of them things that you did only on that song. It's not like, you listen to something else and you start doing the Humpty Dance. It was more so something specifically for that song. So he produced the song Sex Packets off the album Sex Packets. And they had an EP that they released. This is an EP release, which same song was on that. Sons of the P, which I really liked. Sons of the P, which was off of the album Sons of the P. Now, after 91, things started to switch in hip hop. You have that harder edge. Like I told you, the gangster rap is coming up. It's starting to form. This Deep Cover comes out in 92. Wu-Tang really hits the scene, 93, 94. You got Boot Camp Click. Hip hop was changing. Hip hop started to change, and there was this battle between that hardcore hip hop and danceable stuff. Now, if you get to the mid 90s, Bad Boy kind of picked up that, and but you still had a very, very vocal, rough style of hip hop, and the shiny stuff, the danceable stuff, right? So in the midst of that, you have a lot of songs from Tupac that Shock G produced. Rebel of the Underground from 91. Words of Wisdom from Tupac, also 91. These are early Tupac records. Revenge of the Lunatic, Tupac and Money B. Money B is from Digital Underground. I Get Around, which was a smash record. That was a smash hit, 1993. And so it was a time that you had original version, and then they would follow up with the remix. Sometimes the beat was different. Sometimes the different people in the song. And so Thumpfinger is saying this was a soundtrack from age 14 to 20 at least. I had to get a ride to the record store from Ma to get sex packets. This is a gut check. Let me tell you something. Thumpfinger on YouTube. This is a gut check for real, right? So clearly we're around about the same age. I love this group, and I wasn't fortunate to get a ride to the record store. I had to take the bus to the record store. I miss those days. Going to the record store. Of course, this generation, I talk about it all the time. This generation knows nothing about going to the record store. This is why these losses in hip hop hurt us so badly. Let me tell you why. Losing DMX, losing Black Rob, now losing Shock G. Here's why these losses hurt us so bad. Because we had to physically go to the record store and purchase something. And you left the store, you left with a disc or a cassette or a record in your hand that what they put in the bag, and you carried it with you. You read the credits. You were invested in these artists. So now we can just pick up our phone, slide, okay, I want to hear such and such. And you just listen to it. There's no real investment in the artist. Because it's at your fingertips. It comes really easy. You remember, and also going back to this time period, back to the 90s, maybe it's your youth, depending on how old you are. You would watch a movie on VHS, even on DVD. And you would watch it over and over again. You would know, lines from the movie. You were invested in the movie. These movies had replay value. You've seen the movie before. Hey, you want to come over and watch a movie? And you put on a movie that you've already seen before. You know why? Because you were invested in it. Now, we have all these movies at our fingertips. Pull up Netflix. Search whatever you want. And there's no real replay value. You're not watching a movie, a Netflix movie over and over and over again, like you used to watch some of the movies that you had on VHS, some of the movies that you had on DVD. You're not watching these Netflix movies. You're not watching some Amazon movie over and over again, unless it's a movie that you've watched over and over again, and they've now added it to Amazon, and it's from back in the day, Coming to America, those kind of Harlem Nights, those kind of movies, right? It's just a different time. It's just a different time. And I don't want us to lose those memories. I don't want us to lose those memories of that time period. And now that we are, as we continue to get older and time continues to go on, we're going to see other people pass away. We are going to see other people pass away. And unfortunately, like I said, Shock G of Digital Underground, just a big loss. Big loss. Digital Underground had a spinoff group called Raw Fusion. And, but I really like the guys together. Do y'all remember the song Fuck the World? Off the Tupac album, Me Against the World. Shock G produced that. Tupac and Shock G on that song. So Many Tears. Woo! That was a big hit. Now look, I'm a Tupac fan, so I'm gonna say everything was a big hit. No, I'm not gonna say every song of Tupac was a big hit. But so many tears. Also off of that Me Against the World album, produced by Shock G, which was hot. Shock G did some production for the Loonies, 95. Loonies had that, I Got Five on it. Tell you a crazy story about the Loonies. The Loonies came in the mall. So I worked in a record store in Westview Mall in Baltimore with DJ Kenny B. And so rappers would come through to do signings, do college tours. They would always come through to, just promote music, and you know, the mall was lit, so it's just people would come through, buy clothes, and holler at girls, that kind of stuff. And we ran into the Loonies. Now this is when I Got Five on It was a major record. So the Loonies were in the mall, and so we got into a little confrontation with the Loonies. It was a wild time. I just really missed that time. And here's the thing: this is a time period where you could get into a confrontation and then later on become cool, right? Which is what happened. And it wasn't a gun type of thing. It was just might be a fight, and then it's over with, and then y'all could be cool. It was just a better time. Let me say that, a better time. So anyway, Shock G went on to produce a lot of records, and I really went over some of the bigger hits. And so, you know, when you get to like the late 90s, Digital Underground had an album called Who Got the Gravy. It was not a commercial hit. And, you know, so it's just that early 90s was really his time, was really his time in the spotlight, and Digital Underground's time in the spotlight. But do not get it twisted. Shock G was a great producer. Digital Underground was a legendary group. And Thumpfinger says that he takes his kids record digging. I love that. Digital Underground helped to inspire me to play bass and learn deeper into funk music. That's true. And you know, that is super true. You know what I mean? And so the other thing that is like super important about continuing to keep legacies alive. Here's why that's important. Okay. So Digital Underground influenced by Parliament Funkadelic, which if you're of a certain age, that was your parents' music, right? Now you listen to it by default because your parents had it on and you didn't have any choice, right? But they go to influence Digital Underground, which is my generation, which goes to influence Tupac, which goes to influence, and each one is influencing the next generation. That's why we can't be disrespectful to a generation. Even this generation of hip hop, we can't be disrespectful because they're influencing somebody else. And whether we like all the songs or we don't, that's not the point. The point is we have to continue to keep this thing called hip hop alive. We have to keep pushing this thing called hip hop because it is important. Just tuning in, your man Diamond K in the morning, 8 a.m. on radioonfire.com. Of course, we had breaking news with the death of Shock G, Humpty Hump from Digital Underground, 57 years old. You're just tuning in. And so we were just talking about, oh, wow. Ravenator. Really? Ravenator? Is that Ravenator on YouTube said, did he take the shot? I assume that you're talking about the COVID-19 vaccination. Come on. It's too soon. It's too soon, man. It's too soon. Okay, it's too soon. Yeah, my dog too. Definitely. Always had respect for Shock G and Digital Underground. Man, I listened to Sex Packets every day for like 2 years straight. And I'm not joking. Does anybody remember We All in the Same Gang? Y'all remember that song? West Coast All Stars? Crazy. Crazy. We all in the same gang. He did a verse on there. Talking about some of those guest appearances. He's on the song Trap by Tupac. Of course, did some songs with Raw Fusion. Of course, did a song with George Clinton. And I'm sure that was something that was major for him. Being so influenced. Paint the White House Black. 1993. George Clinton, Ice Cube, Cam, Yo-Yo, Dr. Dre, P.E., Public Enemy. Man, I forgot about that song. The I Got 5 on It remix. He was a guest on that. This song with Too Short. Another Bay Area legend. Yeah, it is when you really look back, when I look back at some of these songs, man, some of these songs I have not even heard them in years. This Saturday on the On Fire Mix show here on Radio On Fire, I am going to really do some. We got to do like a digital underground. I think I do like a digital underground mix, like some kind of dedication to Shock G. This Saturday, 12 noon, radioonfire.com. Got to do that. Way Too Young, Stacy says, my high school record here in the Bay. Shout out to the Bay. I love the Bay. I love the West Coast. Definitely shout out to all of our folks over that way. Oh, yes. Thank you, Conway. I forgot about the Bobby Brown. See, that's why I'm glad that it is people out here that keep me on point. Forgot about that. And some of the videos, okay, if you get a chance, I want y'all on YouTube to pull up some of these videos. Do what you like. You got to pull that up. Humpty Dance, same song, Kiss You Back. Kiss You Back. Wait, I gotta, before I say this, I need some water. Hold on. My first girlfriend, Kiss You Back was our song. Okay, yeah. I know it sounds corny, but Kiss You Back was our song. No Nose Job from 92. Return of the Crazy One. That around 92, 93, they started, Digital Underground started to get a little out there. But people loved them anyway. You know what I mean? People loved them anyway. And so we're just talking about some fond memories of the late, great Shock G from Digital Underground. And what's Alan Joseph saying? Def comes in threes. First DMX, then Black Rob, now Shock G. You're right. I hate cliches, but this is true. Def comes in threes. We've had our 3. Can we not have any more for a while? My Lord. My Lord. That KRS song, he was in that video. What KRS song? So Talk to Him Khan is saying that there's a KRS. I don't remember the KRS. What KRS song was Shock G in? The video for it. Yeah, let me know that one. We all in the same gang. Pull that up. We need another song like that. That was the West Coast version of Stop the Violence. It was about cutting down some gang violence. And just we don't have songs like that. No Brothers Allowed by No Face from 94. I forgot about that. That is something that you don't hear often. If you ever get a chance, there's a Digital Underground DVD called Raw and Uncut that's floating around. If you can get your hands on that's hard to find. That's hard to find. But we're talking about Shock G. His production catalog is extensive. Smiling Faces in 04 Okay, I gotta check that out. I did not see that. I'm gonna check that out though. A lot of people maybe, I don't know why, but a lot of people may be sleeping on KRS-One. KRS-One just released an album in December or January. Lit. Okay. Just because you don't see a lot of these artists on major labels, they doing it independent, do not sleep on them. The artists that you grew up listening to, let me say this. Some people say hip hop is a young man's game, or you got to be young. Forget all of that. Okay. Forget all of that. Okay. Here's why. Yes, there are young rappers, and there should be young rappers. But as you get older, does that mean you just automatically don't listen to rap no more? No. You're still going to listen to rap. And that doesn't mean that you're going to listen to the rap that the 20-year-olds listen to. You might want to listen to something that is age appropriate. So you still have rappers who may have been rapping 20 years, just like you got singers that sing for 20 years. So you can still have mature hip hop or hip hop that you like that's age appropriate from artists that you grew up listening to. So still support these artists. KRS-One specifically still makes music on a quality, on a high level. Definitely check that out. So some of those rappers that you grew up listening to are 9 times out of 10 still making music. You can still get it. Just tuning in, Diamond K in the morning. Check me out. Weekdays, 8 a.m. New episodes of the program drop. But I don't want you to miss any of our live broadcasts. In addition to our 8 a.m. program, we drop content throughout the day as news happens. Hit that notification bell so you get an alert whenever we go live. Diamond K in the morning, also available in the WRF Radio app. Simply download WRF Radio in your app store. Leave me a comment. Scroll your timeline. Attend a Zoom meeting on mute. Don't get in trouble on my part. Shoot an email. Do some online shopping while listening to Diamond K in the morning. You can also get us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, IGTV. Going back to WRF Radio, definitely download that app. Weekly lineup is crazy over there. DJ Cornbread does the midday mix. Morgan Brittany, the beautiful Morgan Brittany, hosts the top 10 at 10 countdown. On Radio on Fire, get breaking news and adult conversation covering topics that are important to Black culture. Visit radioonfire.com for our original radio podcasts and TV programs. May the 1st, I have a major announcement that I'm going to be making. May the 1st, so definitely stay tuned for that. You want to support Diamond K in the morning? Very easy to do that. I'm able to deliver our news and our views because of our listeners, sponsors, and of course, your donations. Support Diamond K in the morning via Cash App, $ DJ Diamond K, PayPal.me/Radio on Fire. For any booking info, djdiamondk@gmail.com or just visit radioonfire.com. We are powered by the people and we need and love your support. Definitely. As far as social media at the Diamond K Show at Radio on Fire, before we get out of here, I have and always will support entrepreneurship and independent businesses. So we're going to be highlighting some businesses. The pandemic has got things a little twisted up, right? So we need to support these independent businesses. If you have a business or you know someone with a business that we need to highlight, shoot me a DM, Instagram.com/The Diamond K Show. Send me the IG page of that business so we can shout them out here on the show. Next week, we're going to start shouting out and really highlighting some businesses. It's like a commercial. I'm like pretty much be doing commercials, but we're spotlighting these businesses. We have got to do that. I mean, Walmart's cool, Target's cool, but there are so many small businesses that provide great services. We're talking about food, hair, nails, clothing, clubs, restaurant, whatever it is, doesn't matter. We need to support entrepreneurship and support some of these businesses. You're ordering stuff online. You're ordering stuff online. You're using your phone. And we can shout out some of these businesses. And we need to get in the habit of supporting one another. So again, on Instagram, DM me. You can just copy the business and paste it in my inbox or my DM at the Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. Stephen Bostic, RIP, DMX, and Black Rob and Shock G. Absolutely, my brother. So I'm gonna be back in the morning. Man, I didn't even get a chance to talk about. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that in another stream. Did not get a chance to talk about something that I saw, which was the verses, which was crazy. I love that, but I'm not even going to get into that yet. I'm going to do that when I have a couple of other folks on here. Yes. And so Ecstasy, and yes, you're right. Can't forget Ecstasy from Houdini. Prince Marky D. Yeah. I mean, it's just all over the place. Death is all around us. Tomorrow is not promised. We're literally born dying. First day we born, starting that path, that circle is starting. So says that was his godfather, and I assume that you're talking about Shock G. Yep, definitely. 2021 is hell. You're right. Start drinking a gallon of water a day. I do drink a gallon of water a day. I do. And that is good advice. That is actually great advice. We definitely need more water. Definitely. So salute to your godfather and your family and friends and all of that. Your man Diamond K in here, Radio on Fire, the all new radioonfire.com. And we have just been talking about reminiscing, thinking back to a better time. The passing of Shock G way too early, 57. Today, April the 22nd, 2021, found dead in a Tampa, Florida hotel room. And here's one thing, Tampa, talk about Tampa. Every time I've gone to Tampa has been amazing. I love the city of Tampa. And it's super sad that he passed away in that city. So what did he die from? We don't know yet. It has not been released. I'm sure that it is going to be coming out and forthcoming. So we don't know that yet. As soon as I find out, I will be on here to talk about it. Sorry for your loss, brother. He was the hip hop nation's godfather. Absolutely. RIP Shock G, thanks for giving us Pac. And that cannot be said enough. Thank you so much. That cannot be said enough. I don't think that people really understand, and they may say because Tupac did more street records, did commercial records as well, but did more street records, and maybe some people don't make that connection because Digital Underground was such a party, a happy-go-lucky kind of vibe. But it is so important that, one, we keep that connection there. Digital Underground, Tupac, and the other rappers that Tupac influenced. And we can't even count how many rappers Tupac has influenced, and that Digital Underground influenced by way of Tupac. So going through some of these comments, RIP Humpty Hump, absolutely. Humpty Hump, Shock G, that was a whole thing. He was ahead of his time. ahead of his time. Digital Underground was so underrated. Yes, they were. They were. I mean, because, you know, we know them for those big records. We know them for the Humpty Dance. We know them for Do What You Like. We know them for Same Song. We know them for Kiss You Back. So those commercial records. But that was a good group. That first album, that Sex Packet album, like I said, was I didn't take any drugs, but the Sex Packet album was like my life. Okay. And that was my life, man. 57 is definitely too soon. Talk to him, Khan, talking about it is way too early. It is. He'll be up there with Pac. I love that. That is absolutely true. Absolutely true. Right? Yeah, Shock G just getting a lot of love. Nobody has anything bad to say about Shock G, which is great. Nobody has anything bad to say about him. Somebody just said that the Wayne brothers Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking juice in the hood had a Shock G song on it. We got more. I don't remember that song. I don't remember that song. The song featured Bay Area's The Loonies. And so it was, I have to look at that again. I don't remember that. I do remember that Prince included the Shock G produced Love Sign on his triple CD, The Crystal Ball. I do remember that. Late 90s. I do remember that. What else? Going through some of these comments. Right. Okay. Oh, Foss Bangs. No Nose Job. That was that song was hilarious. No Nose Job. You get a chance to see the video. Once again, they're ahead of their time. This is before the plastic surgery thing really before people just really went over the top with plastic surgery. Some people, it was starting. And this No Nose Job was really about just, you find the way you are. You don't need no nose job. All right. And search for Who Got the Gravy album. Fire. Let me tell you something. Who Got the Gravy came out when I was working in a record store, the record store in Westview, which is called Electronics and More. And I would play that record. Nobody in there wanted to hear that record. Now, I, being a Digital Underground fan, I felt like the group could do no wrong. Yeah, so that was one of those underground albums. Like, if you were a big fan of the group, you're familiar with it. But a lot of the mainstream ignored that album, and really, when people talk about they're underrated, it's stuff like this. They didn't get their props when they weren't doing the commercial records. He said he wasn't afraid of death and he was ready. Such a great man. Yes. Yes, definitely he was. And we're talking, just tuning in, Diamond K at the Diamond K Show at Radio on Fire. We are talking about Shock G. I'm reading some of the comments that folks are saying, and everybody has love for Shock G, aka Humpty Hump. They were all sleeping on my pop's couch in the Bay before Digital Underground blew up. I have so many pics with him as a kid. He was a really good dude, man. He was also a very smart man too. I would love to see some of those pictures. Are you posting some of those on your social media? Yeah, I definitely want to see some of those pictures. Definitely want to see some of those pictures. Continue. We're going through some of these comments. And so just talking about 3 died, DMX, Black Rob, Shock G, and the president lived longer. Okay, you had to go there. You had that. I mean, that's true. It's one of those things. I mean, I'm not making no connection. Are you making a connection between Black Rob, Shock G, DMX, and Joe Biden? I don't know the connection there. Raw Fusion and Money B. that we got more was Raw Fusion, which I liked. Money B, you talk about underrated. Chopmaster J, underrated. The whole crew just underrated. Time for hip hop to get a union. Now, people have been talking about this. A hip hop union has been floating kind of under the surface for a while. My question is, where would the money come from? Let's say they're independent artists. Are you saying, are they paying into this? Like, is this something that bigger labels are supposed to give? Like, where's the money supposed to come from? That's what I'm wondering about. I'm not against the union because, you know, obviously a lot of the artists could benefit from healthcare. I mean, of course, and if hip hop is their job, you know, what are they going to do? But I'm saying, I wonder where does the money come from for a union? R.I.P. Prince Marky D and Ecstasy from Houdini. Talking about Prince Marky D from the Fat Boys and Ecstasy from Houdini. Fat Boys, Houdini, legendary groups. Absolutely. And because we're talking about DMX, Black Rob, Shock G, by no way am I discrediting the Fat Boys and Prince Marky D or Houdini. Houdini really was one of the first groups, if not the first rap group, to really merge that R&B with hip hop, that the singing with and the Fat Boys, legends. So I definitely RIP to those good brothers. No Nose Job, talking about that. We talked about that earlier. I love No Nose Job. I love the whole digital underground movement, like everything that it was just a fun time. And yes, they talk drug talk. I mean, they use drugs, like the psychedelic kind of stuff, right? But they wasn't hurting nobody. And it was just fun. And if you wanted to partake in that, you did that. I did not, but I listened to it and I loved it and I enjoyed it. R.I.P. Shock G's what he meant. And it should come from garbage mumble rappers and stripper rappers. And so Frazier is talking about my question about the money for a hip hop union. If you have been paying attention in hip hop, they've been talking about the prospect of a hip hop union, a union for rappers. I mean, you have unions for a lot of different workers, a lot of different places of employment. Amazon is people that work at Amazon. They're fighting for a union, and ever so often there is talk of a hip hop union, musicians union. It's not just for rappers, musicians. Master P was talking about a union potential, but we also have to have some accountability. The people, adults, we have to have some accountability. Now, a union would be great, and if we can figure out a way to pay for it, I mean, when you say that, the mumble rappers and what you're calling Frazier, the stripper rappers, they need a union as well. Underground members, Cal Mitchell, Ramon Gooden, musician. Jeremy Jackson, Eric Baker, musician. Yes, absolutely. See, the Godfather, NFG on YouTube is throwing out some names out there. Hollywood characters don't die. Is it Hivation? What are you talking about with that? So we say Hollywood characters don't die. Are you talking about actors in Hollywood don't die? Or are you talking about like characters in movies? Tell me what you're talking about. Hivation in the comment section on YouTube. I want to hear more about that. And so with the death of stars like DMX, stars like Black Rob, and now Shock G, the conversation is coming back to the surface about this hip hop or musician union. The concept. of a union has been reignited. And so, yes, a lot of rappers make money, and could that money be put into something else for a later point in their life? Yes. Is that a great idea? It is. It is. But at the same time, there is an accountability factor that is required from people. All Hollywood characters that does music or anything, absolutely. It's really never truly, they're never really truly going to die. Shock G fake his death. What do you mean? Hivation. What do you? I was with you for a minute, Hivation. And then you did. Oh, come on now. This whole murder about Shock G is all cap. Okay, so you're saying, so Hivation is saying that Shock G has not passed away. All right. Okay, none of this is true. Okay. You have proof. All right. Well, I'd like to see. All right. Well, I hear you. And so when we talk about money management for the rappers, Dark Prince says Hivation is high. Well, look, Dark Prince, Hivation's name is Hivation. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, so Hivation is saying so. It's nice. Look him up. So you're saying that we Google something and that's just Hivation may be high. That is true. In the comment section, Hivation on YouTube could potentially be high right now. But getting back to what we were talking about as far as the unions, with the death of stars like DMX, like Black Rob, and others, this conversation about a union, because like Black Rob had a GoFundMe trying to raise money for hospital, surgery, hospital bills, and the such. So it has people talking about money management courses for rappers when they break into the industry. It is important, right? We talk about athletes. How many times you see athletes that have big careers, big money, and then later on, they don't have any money? What about that? Okay. Okay, so you're saying, okay. Right. So we're just, some of these comments in the comment section are hilarious. All right. When you become a character who people dress up as for Halloween, I think it's safe to say you're a legend. You are absolutely right. And let me tell you something crazy. Truth over facts on YouTube. I have been saying for the last 4 or 5 years that I was going to be Humpty Hump for Halloween. Never got around to doing it. Now this year everybody gonna be Humpty Hump. All the guys gonna be Humpty Hump. It's crazy. So we're talking about this, and I don't want to get distracted from this. Okay, the money management courses that rappers need. That is necessary, but we cannot get away from the accountability, meaning you are responsible for how you spend your money. Definitely. But in the wake of Black Rob's death specifically, a lot of fans thought that Diddy should have been more helpful, but we don't know what was happening behind the scenes. Let me say that. Now, Diddy supposedly is paying for the funeral. But a lot of people, and I said this when Black Rob passed away, a lot of people were directing their anger towards Diddy. Like Diddy did something to cause the passing of Black Rob. It's not true. Now, if you want to talk about how his contract was set up or whatever, I mean, that if he signed the contract, I mean, nobody held a gun to his head, Black Rob, to force him to sign a contract. And Black Rob did not complain about his contract. The Locks did, and the Locks got out of their contract. But Black Rob didn't complain about his contract. People pointing fingers at Diddy, and but when you look at some of the white labels, right? When you look at some of the white labels, white run labels, Jimmy Iovine, nobody talks about what Jimmy Iovine paid people. Nobody talks about what Clive Davis paid people. When Whitney Houston overdosed, were people saying Clive Davis, is supposed to be doing something, or how did Clive Davis let this happen? People didn't say that. People weren't throwing any type of accusations at Clive Davis. Clive Davis from Arista Records and J Records, for those that remember that. Now, when Michael Jackson died, people were pointing fingers at Sony Music, definitely, for enabling. But it's just really crazy when you really look at that. A lot of people say that those guys, the label, those people should be helping, considering all of the business that they're doing. Diddy was a middleman. I want to make sure people understand that. Diddy was a middleman. There was a distributor. There was somebody that paid Diddy, and then Diddy paid somebody else. Diddy's check came from someone else. Diddy's check came from somebody else. We really have to, and I really hope that the younger generation of artists do this. They have to prepare for their futures, for their future, right? They have to prepare for the future instead of blaming the artists who sign up, like who just sign them. We're all gonna die, and there has got to be life after your heyday. A lot of people have that big heyday, and then when they're not, the crowd's not chanting their name, they're not on the stage in the forefront. They kind of you get high off of the fame, and then when it's gone, they don't know what to do. Now, artists should look after each other. We also need to look after our artists. This is super important. So a union would be helpful, very helpful. And in this union, I think that to be a part of this union, they have to go through some courses. They got to learn some things. If you go back to school, elementary school, the things that they teach us in school weren't, for the most part, aside from addition and subtraction, it was a whole bunch of foolishness that they were teaching us that we didn't even necessarily need. They didn't teach you how to manage your money in school. Regular people, they didn't teach you how to manage your money, balance your checkbook for those that back in the day we had checks, or any of that stuff, because the system is set up for some to win and for some to lose. But if we know that, we can prepare ourselves. We can prepare ourselves. Godfather, NFG, Shock G, Tupac, Chopmaster J, Kenny K, musician, Numbskull, musician, Michael Webster, musician, DOT, musician, Bing, musician, Money B, Cal, Mitchell, Chopmaster J, digital members. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Godfather, NFG on YouTube, shouting out all the members, pretty much. All right. So, Hivation says that Michael Jackson ain't dead. Hivation, come on. What? Okay, so let me get this straight. Hivation says Michael Jackson ain't dead, that I'm spreading false information because Michael Jackson ain't dead. All right, I'm not even going there. Humpty Hump, we miss you. Mystery Management on YouTube says. And Hivation is talking crazy. Black men, you must learn your identity. All right. Tell us more. Tell us more, Angel X Core. I'd like to hear more about that. Yeah, so do you think that hip hop needs a union? And if hip hop or musicians, if music industry as a whole needs a union, where's this money going to come from and what needs to happen in that? I'd like to hear people's thoughts on that. On all social media at the Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. RIP to Shock G, Humpty Hump from the legendary group Digital Underground. Real name Gregory Jacobs, leader of that Digital Underground group. 57 years old. Man, worked with a lot of greats in hip hop. Digital Underground, Money B, Tupac, Loonies, Rappin' Forte, Ray Love, Eazy-E, Murs, Raw Fusion, Dr. Dre, George Clinton, E40, Prince, much more. But that is that's a hell of a list of artists to collaborate with. Hell of a list. Comment section. Sandy Savage says RIP Shock G. Comment section has nothing but love for Shock G. Mystery Management says no union. Hip hop is dead. Enough. Maybe rap can use a union. What you mean? So hip hop is dead. Rap can use a union. Mystery Management, you talking like that? You are definitely like my age. You're definitely from the 80s. Grew up on 80s, 90s hip hop. If you say hip hop is dead, that means that you don't like the hip hop now, I'm assuming. Trend Forecast Consulting on YouTube says that a union is an excellent idea for hip hop. All right. Trend Forecast Consulting. If that is the case, where is the money going to come from? It is an excellent idea. Now, if we could take it a step further, where's the money going to come from? Like, how do we get it started? Do the rappers pay into it? Like, where does that money come from? Is it like our insurance? Is it, or your 401k? Is it just coming out of their, royalties or show money? Like where does it come from? I do think it's a great idea. I'm just trying to figure out physically, how does it happen? The Godfather, NFG, Tupac was one of my favorite rappers of all time. Mine as well. Tupac, one of my favorites. Now, of course, you go into any barbershop and that conversation of the top 5 dead or alive comes up. Tupac is in that conversation. Now, he's not on everybody's list of top 5. You might be, you got to be a certain age. But, I mean, I don't see how you can get out of him being in the top 10. He's definitely in the top. I mean, depending on how old you are. Now, some of the young boys now, he may not come up on their list. You know what I mean? But there's going to be a lot more said about the late great Shock G, aka Humpty Hump. So interestingly, we talked about Digital Underground being ahead of their time, and we talked about Shock G, his versatility as a producer, his versatility as a performer. I know that the Bay Area is proud of the legacy of Shock G. So Digital Underground was formed with Shock G, Chopmaster J, and the late Kenneth Waters, aka Kenny K. from California, not to be confused with the Kenny K from Baltimore. So this group is going to go down as one of the greats. Is one of the greats, and we're going to be talking about not only Digital Underground, but we're going to be talking about other legendary groups that do not get their just due in the days and weeks to come. This Saturday, 12 noon, going to be in the mix here on Radio on Fire, playing a lot of these records. We'll be playing a lot of these records from that time. A lot of these Digital Underground records, a lot of these records that Shock G produced, I'm going to be playing in the mix this Saturday, 12 noon. So make sure that you tune in. We got some okay rappers. I like how you have that. I like how you spelled that in today's time, but I do miss the old days when hip hop used to mean something. You're right. Now, hip hop still means something. And because they're not making those records right now, those records still exist. So when people say hip hop is not dead, we still can hear those records. Not like the great records from the golden era are gone. You can still hear them, and we can still talk about them and listen to them and enjoy those songs. So Frazier says, unless you're on an independent label, the major labels should make artists pay for the union. Let me read that again. Unless you're on an independent label, the major labels should make artists pay for the union. And so here's another thing. Okay. Who controls the money that's being, are we trusting the record labels to control the money for this potential proposed musicians union? I don't know about that. Big shout out to Money B, Mystery Management on YouTube says, absolutely. Absolutely. I had a chance to talk with Money B many years ago, maybe like 10 years ago. And I'm going to reach out to him and see if we can set something up. I definitely would like to speak to him. Trend Forecast Consulting on YouTube says the artists will pay into the union. It should work like Social Security. A portion of their contract money, touring, etc. would fund it. Now, if it's set up, yes, and it happens. I wish we'd had that from day one. Because it's hard to set up something new. But it makes sense. It makes sense. Mystery Management says, I still make those records. That's what's up. Okay. Mystery Management on YouTube says that. Send me some of that music. DJDiamondK@gmail.com. Send me some of that music or send me links or something. Because I still play those records. Drugs are bad. Frank Wine. So Frank Wine says drugs are bad. Okay. Unions should be paid from publishing once an artist reaches that level. Now, what if the artist, if the artist is on that level, like let's say a Beyonce, maybe they don't need a union, maybe they don't want to pay for it or pay into it, or you know what I mean? Because if they're on a certain level, money ain't an issue. We're talking about these unions because some artists are just not on a financial level where they can sustain or even cover their own expenses. So depending on how large the artist is, do you think that Kanye West would try to get in a union? I don't know. I love the fact that we're talking about how can we prepare the artist for the future. Because there's so many artists. We talk about the golden era. There's a dark side to this too. There's a dark side. There's so many artists that you love, as we are seeing. Black Rob, for instance, and others that financially don't have it. And whether it's from bad contracts, or bad decisions or personal habits, the money's not there. So we're trying to find, how can we be proactive? How can we come up with something that artists that we love, that brought so much joy to our lives, are not in a bad way just a few short years after their heyday. So conversations like the Hip Hop Union are going to come up, or musicians union, because it's not just hip hop. I mean, we're talking about, it's stemming from hip hop, but it's so much deeper than that. Mystery Management, Big Mike, put the knives away. Oh, I love that song. I know that song. Okay. Craig G, Lockdown. Okay. All right. Ooh, see? Now you talking. Craig G is another underrated rapper. Craig G is another underrated rapper. I love music, hip hop, old school 90s. You and I both. There are a lot of records that I like now. I'm a DJ, but I love when I can get those 90s records in. And Saturdays at noon, radioonfire.com, I do that. I'm 24 years old, was born December 2nd, 1996. Wait, what? I did not know that. Okay, yes. Your default picture, you look young, right? 24 years old. I need a sip of water for that. I'm really happy that you being 24 years old, that you are making some of the comments and some of the statements that you are making. There is hope. So Godfather NFG is talking about 50 Cent next to Travis Scott, Nipsey, 21 Savage, Eminem, Drake, Kendrick, DMX, Bow Wow, Kanye West. Absolutely. Good music. Okay, so you got good taste. You got good music. Mystery Management, I made it. Absolutely. Y'all need to look up and follow Mystery Management on YouTube, because I'm going to do that. I need to connect with you, my brother. And I still make YouTube videos to this day. Old school classics. Absolutely. Make sure y'all follow the Godfather NFG on YouTube. I'm going to do that as well. Connect with you guys. All right. Your man Diamond K in here, radioonfire.com, the all new radioonfire.com, Diamond K in the morning. And old school music. It takes you to a certain place, doesn't it? You can hear songs and it will take you back to the point where you were at. Like, I remember when this song came out, I was doing this. This song came out, I was doing that. Hey, shoot a link in the comment box. A link to what? Which one we shoot a link to? I definitely want to stay in touch on social media at the Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. As far as artists, send me music, djdiamondk@gmail.com. Just going back through these comments before we get out of here. Hip hop artists and promoters and former artists need to have a meeting and brainstorm. Absolutely. I agree with that. Need to brainstorm. Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you. Need to brainstorm and, come up with something. There's so much that we can do. djdiamondk@gmail.com. That is my email address. So folks can send me music, shoot me a message, booking info, all that, djdiamondk@gmail.com. Lamont Elliott, I guess you're just finding out the passing of Shock G from Digital Underground, a.k.a. Humpty Hump. So we were talking about Do What You Like. Now, 1989, Digital Underground signed to Tommy Boy Records. And when they signed to Tommy Boy Records, their career blew up. When they signed to Tommy Boy Records, they released Do What You Like. Got a little bit of radio play. A lot of people don't know that Queen Latifah's talking on the Do What You Like song. There's like a radio personality that's talking on the song, and that's Queen Latifah. Anyway, received some airplay. It was underground. Video played on the jukebox, which is where I first saw it. Saw the video first. Then I went out and got the record. So the video was, on MTV. Those, video music box. But that was the first single off of that Sex Packets album. The Humpty Dance came out in 1990. It's a platinum record. And it was, of course, their biggest record. That's the record that he's known for. That's the record that Digital Underground is known for. But throughout his career, not only did he have that alias, but he had a bunch of other aliases. He kind of just went crazy with the alias and that whole thing. If you get a chance, there were some appearances to look up on Showtime at the Apollo, Arsenio Hall show, some MTV Spring Breaks, Yo MTV Raps. There was a lot. There were a lot of appearances. So look those up. And of course, people talking about in the comment section, talking about all over the place, the connection between Shock G, Digital Underground, and the rap icon Tupac. You can't talk about Tupac, especially those early days, without talking about Gregory Jacobs, aka Shock G, aka Humpty Hump. Your man Don McKay in the morning, and definitely want to say R.I.P. Digital Underground co-founder, the late great Shock G of Digital Underground. I will be back. A lot of things to talk about, but I didn't want to do it on this feed. New episodes of the program drop weekdays 8 a.m. RadioOnFire.com. Radio on Fire is Black voices giving you the American story. I talk politics. I talk trending news. I talk entertainment. And this Saturday, 12 noon in the mix, we're going to be spinning those 90s records. I'm mainly going to be spinning Digital Underground records, Shock G records, Shock G produced records this Saturday, RadioOnFire.com. Hit that subscribe button. And I will see you guys. Oh, yes. Okay. Return of the Crazy One. Raquel, Miss Jackson, thank you so much. And Digital Underground, Return of the Crazy One. Now, let me say something. J Beats Jackson, I have not mentioned that record today. I am so glad you brought that up. Every time I try to get out, they pull me back in. Now, that record right there, and there's so many records that just did not get its just due. I love that record right there. And so at a day and a time where we have things at our fingertips, there is no excuse for people not to know some of these records. Fear of a Mixed Planet. If you get a chance to check that out, do that. Man, J Beats really had me in I'm thinking about how's it going. I'm thinking about some of these songs, and I can't wait until this Saturday 12 noon when I'm spinning some of these records, because they were talking about digging in the crates. Freaks of the Industry loved that record. That's off that Sex Packets album. Now, if you had the cassette tape, It was the first song on side B. I'm telling you, I listened to Sex Packets every day straight for 2 years. For 2 years. And this Saturday, we are going to go in the mix. R.I.P. Gregory Jacobs, 57 years old, way too young. Shock G, a.k.a. Humpty Hump. We are going to miss him. But the beauty of this, if I can find a silver lining, is that we can still listen to, enjoy, celebrate the art, the music, the memories. We can still celebrate that. That hasn't gone anywhere. That will not go anywhere. Someone said that these Hollywood stars are never going to die. And that is true. In memory, absolutely. This Halloween, we're going to be seeing a lot of costumes and going forward. And even when he was still with us, we still saw those costumes. People still dressed up like him, like Humpty Hump. So if you love that classic music, that classic hip hop music, this is a sad day, but at the same time, we can still celebrate those memories. Again, prayers and love to the family, friends, and fans of Digital Underground, of Shock G, Humpty Hump. Shout out to the Bay. Shout out to the whole West Coast. Definitely. Your man Diamond K. I will be back tomorrow unless something else happens. And I need to come back tonight. I will be back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Anywhere you get your podcast, Apple Music, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, at The Diamond K Show, or search Diamond K in the morning. See you guys tomorrow.